So the rumours about an upcoming FX3 Mark II or an FX5, A7, S4, basically a successor to this camera, seem to be gathering pace.
It's kind of crazy how long the FX3 has been out already. I think it's been just over 5 years, would you say?
2021, yeah.
And time waits for no one, so with that in mind, here's 9 features we would love to see in this FX3 replacement, because top 10 is just a bit too mainstream.
By the way, do let us know in the comment section down below what features you'd love to see in this hopefully soon to be released Sony camera. And if you found this video helpful in any way, hit that subscribe button to see more.
At number 1 is going to be open gate recording. This is basically when a camera sensor is able to read a much wider aspect ratio than a traditional 16:9 sensor when you only capture a small portion of a frame. Literally every other manufacturer seems to be embracing open gate, and Sony really needs to catch up here. Just having the extra flexibility to shoot once and be able to deliver horizontal, vertical, especially in this era of having more social media clients and needing videos for long and short form content. It is genuinely a big upgrade for a lot of pros. The extra room is also better for stabilization and reframing, and also better for anamorphic lenses. I know that not everyone needs it, and there's the downsides of all that extra storage space required, the processing power needed, and potential slower readouts, etc. But hopefully Sony will just give us the option to turn it on and off when needed.
At number 2 is internal variable ND filters. Now this one is pretty self-explanatory. It's a feature on the FX6 that makes it so hard to shoot with other Sony cameras once you have it. And I know it is tricky from like an engineering point of view to include this in a smaller form factor body, and also alongside things like IBIS without making the price astronomical as it is on the Sony Murano. But it is such an amazing feature, especially for like run and gun work when you're constantly shooting from like indoors to outdoors. Now one side note here though is that I was talking to a fellow Sony shooter the other day, and he did mention how he never found the internal ND all that useful on the FX6 because he also uses CPL and MIST filters fairly often, so he's always screwing on filters anyway. So at that point, the convenience of like an internal ND is reduced. So definitely worth mentioning.
At number 3, it's to have a faster sensor / global shutter. For those of you who might not know, this is when a camera sensor is able to capture the image faster, meaning less wobble, i.e. that jello effect when you're doing fast panning shots and the camera sensor is taking a moment to capture the whole image. This is why, for example, when you take a shot of a lamppost and you pan it side to side really quickly, it's not straight anymore, it kind of like warps side to side. A faster sensor means less wobble, and global shutter literally takes one instant snapshot, eliminating wobble altogether. It's not too bad on the FX3 in my opinion, but definitely not something amazing either. So seeing an improvement here would be a very welcome addition.
At number 4, it's internal RAW recording. Now Sony is one of the few premium cine brands that still rely heavily on external RAW. We know this is a feature that most people don't use daily, and certainly not something that we even use for every single project, but it is just a feature that would make the camera far more competitive. When you consider the Canon C70 has it, the R5C I think, the Nikon Z8 and Z9 as well, they all have internal RAW recording. So I think it is time for Sony to bring it in line with its competition.
Number 5 is simply just a bigger and brighter screen or an optional EVF. I know the screens have gotten incremental upgrades on Sony's professional mirrorless bodies over the years, but fundamentally they haven't changed that much since maybe 2020. Again, when you look at Canon and the R5 Mark II, the C80, those screens are amazing, they're brighter, they have so much more responsive touchscreen interfaces and generally nicer menus to navigate. I don't think the FX3 screen is terrible, it's just too small and we end up always using a 5-inch external monitor. So even just a slightly larger screen would be a welcome addition.
Now at 6, it's better built-in monitoring tools, so things like better waveforms, EL zone exposure, better anamorphic desqueeze options, vector scopes, more frame guides. Yes, we do have false colors in the FX3 now, kind of, if you use the monitor and control app, but again, it's not as convenient as having it in the camera body. Now again, we do see this in cameras like the Canon R5 Mark II, the Z8 and Z9. The Z and Nikon are killing it recently. It would just be great to see more professional monitoring tools built into the next FX camera without having to rely on external monitors.
Coming in at number 7, it's 32-bit float audio. If you don't know, think of it as the audio equivalent of shooting RAW. It gives you a huge amount of flexibility accessibility in post, so if anyone suddenly shouts or whispers, you have much better chance of rescuing that audio. That means less clipped audio, which is a win pretty much in every single filming scenario, especially if you're also a solo shooter and it's not always possible for you to directly monitor every single audio input at all times. Currently, the FX3 is limited to 24-bit audio, so to get that sweet 32-bit float, you would have to use an external recorder. Now, I'm not sure how likely this one is considering the FX3 and the Burano don't have 32-bit float audio, but you never know, the DJI mics do.
At number 8, it's better slow motion. Now, don't get me wrong, the FX3 having 4K 120 FPS is great, but a successor could offer something like maybe 4K at 180 frames or 240 frames, and this would be fantastic for like sports, for wildlife, weddings, action sequences, but it would also be great to see better image quality at those higher frame rates as well. And a big one for me would be zero crop. Now the FX3 does crop in about 10% when shooting at 120 frames per second. Again, 95% of the time we only really shoot 25 FPS and occasionally 50, which is like the UK PAL standard. So this is definitely more of like a nice to have rather than like a must need, but it would certainly be a very interesting way for this new Sony camera to stand out from a very competitive field now.
And rounding off this wish list is improved dynamic range and low light performance. Now you might be saying, wait a minute, the FX3 was already pretty awesome at this. 12,800 ISO has made a huge difference to our ability to get better shots in low light. It is excellent. The question is, can Sony squeeze another step of dynamic range? Could we get improved highlight roll-off and even cleaner shadows? Could we even get triple base ISO, for example? For us, that would be a more meaningful upgrade than just having more megapixels.
So there you have it, our top 10, our top 9 wishlist / features for the FX3 successor, whatever it may be. Again, we do want to state that the FX3 is still incredibly capable, so I think this new camera almost has to include like genuinely pro features, things like open gate, global shutter, internal ND, to really justify upgrading. I think loads of people who have an FX3 are just thinking like, is it going to be worth the upgrade?
Yeah, I'm not sure that just simply improving autofocus or adding a few megapixels will be enough for most current FX3 users to upgrade.
So let's say Sony only gave us a couple of these features. Which one would genuinely make you upgrade for the FX3? Definitely let us know down there in the comment section below. I think for me, open gate would be a good one and better rolling shutter performance for sure.
I think for me, it would be seeing if they can actually incorporate internal ND into it, which is a very slim chance of that.
Yeah, I think if the body is like a mirrorless body, probably not, but if they make it like a sort of like a mini,
like a cube,
like a mini FX6, potentially that could work. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully these rumors come out soon.
Hopefully around August.
We'll
I've read that it might be August.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, again, if you did find this video helpful in any way, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff that YouTube algorithm likes.
You can also follow us on Instagram right here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.